Happiness. If there is one thing in life that unites everyone, it is the pursuit of happiness. Have you ever looked up at the stars at night and tried to contemplate the meaning of life? People tend to define meaning by what makes them the most happy. Whether it is religion, family, or their job, they all provide a sense of purpose, a feeling of happiness. Happiness is not always an easy option. Around 7% of Americans suffer from depression, a mental illness which can best be characterized by a loss of motivation. People suffering from depression produce less dopamine, making them physically incapable of true happiness. Around 1.5% suffer from general anxiety, where the person constantly feels worried about anything and everything. This is different from just regular feelings of anxiety. People who have general anxiety disorder do not need a reason to feel anxious, and they typically cannot be easily relaxed with music or a shower. Schizophrenia is a disorder that blurs the line between reality and imagination. Roughly 1% of Americans have it, and it makes their lives essentially unlivable, causing frequent and long-lasting hallucinations and feelings of intense paranoia. People diagnosed with schizophrenia typically have little grasp on what is real and what is not real. PTSD is suffered by around 7.8% of Americans, and I personally have had an episode. When I was in junior year of high school, I was driving home from a date very early in the morning when I fell asleep at the wheel. With my best friend in the passenger seat, my mother's car slammed into a guardrail at 70 miles per hour, causing the car to violently spin out. The car went from one rail to the other, back and forth like a game of Pong for a few seconds. To make matters even worse, a few minutes after the initial crash, an officer responding to the scene slammed into the parked wreck at 55 miles per hour, completely totaling the car. A few weeks later, I was sitting in my car in the school parking lot when one of my friends tried to scare me by slapping the side of my window. The noise of the slap made the exact noise that woke me up during the crash, and I immediately became very stressed. I had trouble breathing, increased heart rate, and visions of my friend almost dying. This only lasted a few seconds, but some individuals, especially war veterans, may have this effect lasting for minutes or even hours, keeping them awake at night, causing intense episodes of rage and depression, and can even last an entire lifetime. Cocaine is a fine white powder that acts as a stimulant. Being either inhaled through the nose or rubbed onto the gums, it produces a dopamine high that heightens awareness and also causes extreme happiness, irritability, and paranoia. The long-term effects include loss of smell, frequent nosebleeds, problems swallowing, bowel decay, and a higher risk of HIV. Cocaine can also go through a crystallization process that turns it into what is commonly known as crack. It is possible to overdose off of cocaine, and around 20 people die from cocaine per day. Opiates and opioids can come in various forms, with the most common being an injected form of heroin. Heroin induces a feeling of euphoria, also called a rush, and also gives feelings of a dry mouth, heavy hands and feet, clouded mental functioning, and a reduced sense of consciousness. Long-term effects include collapsed veins, infected heart lining, swollen tissue, liver disease, lung complications, constipation, and an increased risk of HIV. 3/4 of heroin users have been prescribed an opiate or opioid at some point in their life. Heroin is very easy to overdose on, and there are almost 40 deaths a day in the US alone. Alcohol is a liquid which gives a drunk or disoriented effect on a person. It is also legal in the US above 21. Alcohol is commonly seen as a catalyst for fun, being a hot ticket item at parties and being very commonly used by teenagers and underage college students. Alcohol is the leading cause of fatal car accidents, causing close to 10,000 deaths per year. Tobacco is commonly found in cigarettes and is legal in the US above the age of 18. Coming from the tobacco plant, tobacco contains nicotine, which is an addictive stimulant. Everyone knows the effects of tobacco: lung disease, lung cancer, heart disease, the list goes on. The World Health Organization rates tobacco as the single greatest cause of preventable death globally. Secondhand smoke is also a very large concern, especially with children living in the same house as a smoker. In the United States, about 3,000 adults die every year due to lung cancer caused by secondhand, and 46,000 die from heart disease caused by secondhand. Though you cannot overdose on tobacco, it is highly addictive, and many adults develop a tolerance, requiring them to smoke more and more. All told, tobacco is estimated to cause around 5.5 million deaths a year in the US alone. That is close to 15,000 deaths a day. That's enough to fill up Fenway Park in just 2 days. Sex. Our most basic and fundamental urge as animals is to reproduce. There are many ways to get it on, and it is important that safety is actively practiced. Sex may be fun for now, but sexually transmitted diseases are not fun. So please, don't be silly. Wrap your willy. HIV, HPV, and HSV are all viral infections. HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, attacks the immune system and spreads rapidly throughout the body. If left untreated, HIV will almost certainly lead to AIDS, where the immune system fails and there is no cure. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a virus that causes warts around the genital area and can increase the risk of cancer in the cervix, vulva, vagina, penis, anus, mouth, and throat. Nearly all cervical cancer is due to the contraction of HPV. HSV, or herpes simplex virus, is categorized by the formation of blisters and ulcers around the genital area or around the mouth. Though it looks disgusting, herpes poses no serious risk to adults, though it can be serious to babies and children. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis are bacterial infections. Chlamydia causes vaginal discharge, penile discharge, a burning sensation with urination, swelling, and pelvic inflammatory disease, which can lead to infertility. Gonorrhea often presents no symptoms, but it can cause burning with urination, discharge, testicular pain, vaginal bleeding between periods, or pelvic pain. It can also lead to pelvic inflammatory disease. Syphilis comes in 4 stages: primary, secondary, latent, and tertiary. Primary creates blisters around the area. Secondary involves the creation of rashes on the palms of hands and feet. Latent can last for years and presents no symptoms. In tertiary, gumas, or non-cancerous growths, are created around the genitals. All sex has the risk of pregnancy, and unless you are financially stable enough to support a child, then you need to fully understand the risks involved with having sex. Always remember to wrap it before you whack it. Our emotions are influenced by everything in our lives. Staying happy isn't just about having a good job or lots of friends, it's also about being healthy. A great step towards good health is a healthy diet. A great way to keep a healthy diet is to follow the food plate. Protein is crucial to the formation of muscles and the buildup of amino acids and can be found in meat products, eggs, milk, yogurt, quinoa, almonds, oats, tuna, shrimp, nuts, protein supplements, and more. Grains are a great source of fiber, vitamins, minerals, and carbohydrates, and are high in calories. A great source of grains would be rice, spelt, rye, corn, oats, wheat, barley, quinoa, and flour. Fruits are a lot like vegetables, but they taste good. This taste is because of all the natural sugars that are in fruits. Fruits aren't just good sources of natural sugar, they also provide a good source of fiber, vitamin C, folate, and potassium. Common fruits include apples, avocados, bananas, berries, grapes, lemons, oranges, grapefruit, pineapple, kiwi, durian, figs, peaches, mangoes, cantaloupes, and of course, rhubarb. Vegetables provide a great source of vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber without having too many calories or too much protein. Good vegetables to consider include cabbage, turnips, radishes, carrots, parsnips, lettuce, beans, peas, beans, potatoes, beans, eggplants, beans, cucumber, beans, and beans. Also beets. The last group on the plate is dairy, which is a good source of protein and calcium, but also contributes significant amounts of cholesterol and saturated fats, which can increase the risk of heart disease. Dairy can be found in milk and milk-based products and comes from here, and here. Almond milk is definitely the better choice. To stay physically fit is to stay mentally happy. Those who are more physically fit are at a lower risk for almost any mental illness out there. To stay physically fit can be difficult for some people. They may be too busy or just not motivated enough to work out every single day, or even every week. That said, if you know and understand the different types of exercise, it makes it a whole lot easier to be fit. Endurance, or aerobics, helps to decrease your heart rate and lets you exercise for longer without getting tired. These exercises increase circulation throughout the body and keep the heart healthy. The best way to exercise endurance is with jogging, dancing, or even just doing some yard work. Strength exercises make your muscles stronger, and even small changes in strength can make life a lot easier and lead to healthier lifestyles. Things like carrying heavy groceries, using the stairs, or doing push-ups are great ways to exercise strength. Balance exercises help you stay on your toes, literally. Practicing balance exercises will improve lower body strength, and this can be done with Tai Chi, yoga, or just walking a lot. Flexibility exercises help you stretch the muscles in the body and stay limber. This can be exercised with gymnastics, stretching, yoga, or parkour. There is one very important part to happiness that was not mentioned: friendship. Humans are social by nature, and many of our physical and mental issues stem from isolation or loneliness. The best way to be happy is to find someone that makes you happy, whether they're a best friend, a boyfriend or girlfriend, or just someone you met on Tinder. As long as you aren't alone, you can find happiness.